Given that the book on which the series Presumptive Innocent is based was previously made into a movie in the 1990s, you may already be aware of the identity of the murderer on Apple TV+. Audiences ultimately learned who killed lawyer Carolyn Paulhamus, the former girlfriend of Jake Gyllenhaal's character Rusty Savage, who was indicted and tried for the murder, in the suspensefully tight climax of Apple's compelling courtroom thriller Presumed Innocent. Director Greg Yaitens confirms that Tommy Molto, who cherished the chance to bring charges against his long-standing rival, was eliminated as a suspect in last week's episode. Tommy returned home to discover that someone had left a handwritten, unsigned letter that said, "Go F yourself," along with a fireplace poker, possibly the same one that killed Carolyn, in his home. In the climax, aptly named The Verdict, both sides chose to go forward despite the likelihood of a mistrial. Rusty even presented the summary himself, despite Ray's misgivings. Rusty claimed the jurors he was guilty of nothing more than having an affair with Carolyn. Tommy's prosecution of him, he claimed, was a personal grudge based merely on circumstantial evidence. In an attempt to raise suspicions among the jury, he brought up two other individuals who had fixations on Carolyn: her son Michael Caldwell and his father Dalton, who were both very, very angry with the deceased. Tommy said in his closing remarks that Rusty was more of an infatuation with Carolyn than a true love. And why did Rusty conceal facts and neglect to reveal his relationship with Carolyn if he was so determined to find the murderer? He referred to Rusty as a murderer and a very, very good liar. The jury returned a not guilty judgment after barely deliberating. Raymond and Rusty's family appeared relieved, but Rusty's demeanor stayed serious. Though he was gratified that legal and moral justice was done, Rusty told the media that Carolyn's killer was still at large and that the prosecution had failed. Later, while Barbara was riding the stationary bike compulsively in the garage, Rusty confronted her. She prepared a bag, not to abandon him right away, but more as a threat of what she would do the next time. He acknowledged that he had known since the first night that she had killed Carolyn and that he had staged the body to look like Bunny Davis had been killed. He claimed it was a blatant case of disassociation, similar to what their daughter Jaden had mentioned in an earlier episode, and that all he did was to protect her and the family. Startled, Barbara vehemently refuted his allegation. Because he had hidden a tracker in Barbara's car, Rusty knew she was the one who had driven to Tommy's house to place the poker, but he still didn't believe her. At that point, Jaden crept into the garage with them and confessed to killing Carolyn. Jaden related how she went to Carolyn's house the night of the murder to advise her to keep away from her father, while Barbara started crying hysterically. Jaden took hold of the fireplace poker and whacked Carolyn many times after she revealed that she was expecting Rusty's child and that she couldn't avoid him entirely. At first, Jaden believed it was all a dream as he drove home. She buried the poker in the yard and washed the car. Rusty reminded her that since he started the whole thing, he was solely to blame. "They will never speak of this again," he said. Later on, the family is shown joyfully enjoying Thanksgiving as if this whole ordeal had never occurred. However, Barbara and Rusty shared a serious gaze that made it obvious they would never forget. It seems that Kyle, Jaden's brother, was never told the truth. On July 12, Presumed Innocent received a second season renewal ahead of the premiere of the last few episodes of the first season. For the upcoming season, Gyllenhaal has been credited as an executive producer alongside J.J. Abrams, Rachel Rush Rich, Dustin Thomason, and Matt Tinker. Although Apple TV Plus has stated that the drama will focus on a new case, it is unclear if Gyllenhaal will play Rusty again or if a whole new cast will be involved. The return of co-executive producer Scott Turow, who penned the thriller the series is based on, may mean that Season 2 may be based on one of the author's novels.